Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Quantum Shit, and this is my guide for the hardest difficulty, which is hard difficulty. This is a complete no upgrade run, and we're on the last and final act of the title, and Act 5 is what is upon us now. And some of these gunfights in this particular act, I really enjoyed them because they were difficult, and I just think that if every one of the fights were as hard as some of the fights in this chapter, you'd have a pretty decent game. But as it stands, this title, I've praised it at times, I've lambasted it at others, and it's just one of those titles that I think it's just, for whatever reason, it's just not enough. You know, there's too much narrative. There's just too little gunfighting, and the difficulty is just ridiculously easy. Even though there are some challenging areas, it's just one of those titles that comes along, and you really want a lot for you. You want a lot from it. You want to play a lot of it. You just want something with substance, like. Like even with Max Payne, that had a lot of narrative to it. It had a lot of story and cutscenes, but it had a lot of gameplay. And it was, when you first played it, it was really challenging. Even with, I don't even know if they made Max Payne 3. I don't think Remedy made Max Payne 3. I think that was Rockstar. But, they made Alan Wake, and that game is a really long game with a ton of content. And it has some pretty challenging elements to it with nightmare difficulty. But this is one of the earlier fights, and it's just a lot of these lesser enemies. And then I think you're going to have a checkpoint with a couple juggernauts. And I was thinking to myself when I started this chapter, well, why not put two juggernauts in a fight? And it turns out that they actually do put two juggernauts in a fight. I think this is where it is, actually. So, I think we're going to do it in a moment. There's a backpack on the couch with some more ammunition for you. It's just been one of those experiences. When I've been playing it, I don't know if it's some kind of an internal depression with me, but it just, something is making me depressed. And I've almost been able to put my finger on the fact that it's the game making me depressed, and that's never a good thing. This is my birthday, for God's sakes. I wanted a lot of content here, and I didn't get it, and it makes me mad. It makes me feel like I have buyer's remorse, and I don't want to. I want my fucking money back, and I just can't get it. So it's been a really sensitive subject for me, and one that I just have a lot of ambivalent feelings for. So, and despite that, it's a chapter that has more content than I think any other chapter, and probably the hardest fights that you'll find in the game. But even when you realize that, you sit down and focus, and you can take the fights out really simply, without too many troubles. But I think it's one of the problems of modern gaming where, they're putting narrative above gameplay, and that's fine if you're making a narrative game, but you're also putting in like really fun gameplay, and it just feels like we're constantly getting robbed with this game. I've said many things about this game, different things that maybe come off as, well, does the guy like the game? Does the guy hate the game? And I do like the game, but I really fucking hate it at the same time. So I'm trying to be honest with you guys. It's really weird. And when I'm playing a game, I don't want to be depressed. But the game is making me depressed because you just have that sense that it's not going to last long. It's not challenging. And I think that's one of the main issues. It's just not. It needs to be. It has to have another difficulty mode. I tweeted about this to Remedy Games, and you know they're not going to respond. They don't give a shit. But here's the two Juggernauts fight. It's not too bad. There's plenty of room to move around on. There's a shotgun for you, so you know just do the time rush at these guys. Throw down the force field and just shoot them up. See, the thing is, I can tell you how to beat these guys all day, but you don't need to know how to beat these guys. You really don't. Okay, so here we are on the next fight. Is it the next fight? I think it. Yeah. It's just, it feels so underwhelming. Sometimes you go into a fight and then there's two guys, one guy. Even if there's three guys sometimes, like that's it. That's all you're giving me. You're giving me scraps. I think that's one of the feelings too. You know, you're giving me scraps, so that's why I'm going to call your game shit. You know, just give me more. But yeah, this fight's actually pretty challenging, but it's just one of those things that you can play this fight like a bitch if you want to and stay in the elevator, stay over here. And it's fine if you want to do that. There's no problem doing that. You know, we're here to win. But it's just going to get a little difficult when the shotgunners come up, but make sure you watch out for the snipers too. So, you know, I'm kind of done putting my hopes in games. I'm almost tempted to not play Uncharted 4, but I think I'm going to play it. I'm just going to be pretty reserved and not put my hopes up for grabs, because these games, they're constantly robbing me of joy, and that's not good, because I'm here for joy. So, you know, I've never really cared for Remedy Studios, as it were. I thought Alan Wake was really competent and fun, but a little on the dull side. And I honestly do think they make pretty dull games. I've never played Max Payne, the originals, and I don't want to. And that's it. I'm sure it's a fine game. I'm sure it's very fun, but it's not for me. It's just way too old for me. And I'm somebody who watches classic movies, like film noir movies from the 40s and 50s. So, here's the shotgunner, two of them. Best idea is to flank them over here. And I think if you wanted to make this game hard, take out the infinite ammo, put in a very hard mode for God's sakes. It feels like they really don't have any faith in people being able to beat the game, and that's horrendous actually. So anyway, this fight took me a long time to complete, but I was actually going through some personal things and I was getting distracted over here. But it's not hard. It's, you know, it's really easy to play safe, and this kind of goes to show you that you don't have to, even though I'm hanging back here. But those snipers are very deadly, so I don't know. So I'm kind of sick and tired of games being easy. They they need to be a little bit more punishing for folks, and you know that's fine if you're a journalist, if you just want to play casually, but I don't want to play casually. I want to play very seriously. And that doesn't mean I'm better than a casual gamer. That just means I'm different from him or her. Because when a game is easy, it's dull. And there's nothing you can really do about it. And it's pretty sad. It's just, even at the best of times, this game is still pretty fucking boring. And it's sad that I have to call this game shit, and I really do think it is shit at this point. And I'm saying that without any hesitation of it. I don't even care at this point. You know, and let me know how you feel too, because it has no staying power, no longevity. It's a very quick game. It's over before it even halfway begun, and it's just easy as fucking sin. And that's rotten. It's I don't know what the studio is doing, but they're doing the wrong thing. You can't just make a game like this and make it easy. There's folks out there who really want to have a challenge. If they added a DLC that was called Very Hard Mode, I would cover it. And I would pay maybe $5 for it. $5, what's $5, for another 4 hours or 6 hours of good times. But you're not making good times. You're making crap. And that's pretty sad. Like, what is this fight here? Like 3 teleporters? That's it? Why not 20 teleporters? Why not 3? Just, I don't know. Why not make the character just take more damage? Like, even the way his hand hurts when he hits them, it shows kind of a weakness, and so anyway, I'm not trash talking this game because it has a very good story element to it. It's very fast paced. It's not rewarding, but it's satisfying sometimes. It's just not deep enough. It just I don't know anymore, and I don't really care anymore. I'm done with games that are so shallow like this. And that's coming from somebody who realizes that the game has a very copious amount of narrative element to it. It's very dense, but I think it's too dense for its own good. Just what is this shit with running up to an enemy and you kill him? Like that's the end of it? It's ridiculous. I really think that there should be some kind of a barrier between success for a hardest difficulty. Not many people, like just the people who are trying to do it, they should be met with a lot of hardship. I think Uncharted they did it wonderfully with brutal mode. If you want to try it, go for it, but you may not be able to do it. And with a title like this, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to do it. And that's sickening to me. Very sickening. I take playing games very seriously. Not life or death, but just more serious than normal people. Because I really love it and I have a passion for it, and I like the challenge of it. It's rewarding and it makes me feel good. But when you're pretty much just saying, oh, here's a victory. You win because you played it, right? You played it, so here, you win. That's not enough. That's crap. It should be a badge of honor for people to say that they beat the game, but with this, like, you get a pass just for playing it. And some folks, they like that, but I hate it. And I think it has to be said that this game, it really looks ugly. And I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it really is. You can't account for taste, but from what I'm seeing, it looks god-awful. And I know I'm playing on low, but I have to be able to control the camera. Because if you don't know, the only way you can control the speed of the camera is to put the quality setting to low, from what I know. I don't even know if that works for the consoles, but you know, if that doesn't, then I feel sorry for the people who are playing this on the consoles. But anyway, I think we have somebody left here. Yeah, pretty big fight in this garage area. So we're going to take this guy down, and I think we have a couple more engage. Oh, this is the engagement where there's like 2 guys. Well, correct. I'm sorry, I corrected. There's 3 guys. They can be killed like just tearing a piece of paper apart. But oh, it should be noted in that previous fight that your abilities do get taken away from you, but it's only very briefly, and it doesn't have much effect on anything. But here's a fight in complete darkness. I'm not sure why it's like that, because I'm not watching the story. I'm not going to waste my time watching the story, I'm not here to watch a TV show. I know what I signed up for, but I'm still not going to do it. I'm not going to read all of the damn emails. You got to be crazy. Like, who has that much time? I don't know anybody who has that much time. Okay, here we go. Joyce is here. Oh yeah, Joyce is here. Watch out for Joyce. James Joyce is here. God, this game, man. You want to be careful with a game like this, because it's bad news. It really is. And if you want to have fun playing it, like, it is fun. It's fun. But from, how do you say that word? A substantive. Regardless, it has very little substance to the actual gameplay, and I can't say it enough. It's not hard. It has it has a small incline of like a learning curve, but not much. So anyway, yeah, we're coming up to the final boss, and I just wanted to say that the actual encounter with the final boss is actually really, really tough, and it does contradict what I've been saying about this game, that it's easy. But the more I think about it, the more I say to myself, well, it doesn't even matter if the final boss is hard, because the rest of the game, the difficulty, it just wasn't there. So with it being absent so much like that, I just don't think it matters too much. But the final boss took me a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours. It's really, really fucking difficult, and I didn't even know that this game had a final boss, to be honest. So what you have is a really difficult situation. 2 waves of really tough enemies, no checkpoint, and instant death around many corners. And what it basically is a boss that throws a heat wave at you while you're trying to stave off two waves of enemies. And as much as I liked the boss, I thought it was pretty fun. Here it is right here. It's a fucking nightmare. And that's good, because we needed a nightmare. There had to at least be one nightmare on this entire campaign, and here it is for sure. So here's the first horde right here. You're gonna have, I think, maybe 4 or 5 teleporters over here, and I don't think I ever died from any enemy killing me. It's just the boss killing me instantly with this heat wave. So the rush attack is actually really good. And one of the most frustrating things, I was also facing the fact that whenever I approach or exceed the 10-minute mark when I'm recording, the file gets corrupted. So it was pretty much, I had to have a video ending. I had to end the video anywhere where it was like 8 to 10 minutes. So it's really shitty. Okay. So here's the actual final boss. It's basically just a couple of waves of enemies plus the boss who's up there. But you want to find at least some kind of a comfort zone at first. But you have to realize that you're going to be on the move here a lot, just because the ground will have that orange color where he's casting his heat wave attack. And as you can see here, these guys can be taken out with one rush attack. But if they're in teleporting mode, if you go to rush them and try to press the B button to melee them, you just won't get the prompt. So you have to be very cautious of what you're doing here, and make sure that you don't throw the heat. Throw the heat. What am I talking about? You just want to make sure that you distribute how often you're doing the dash, because you only get 2 uses of it per cycle. And at this point, this is the halfway point. The camera is going to pan over to the spreading attack of the heat, and you need to be running in the opposite direction as much as you can. I didn't die here from any of those attacks, but so what you want to be doing is shooting the boss right here, and there's going to be enemies coming out of this door right here. And what I like to do is try to do this attack, but as you can see here, it fucking fails miserably. The move is broken or something. I don't know what it is. It could be my own ineptitude. I held the charge all the way until it was complete, and then I let go. That's all you're required to do. I don't know if they prevent you from doing it. It could be my fault too, but I hate this boss. And one of the reasons too is it's just you have to constantly be moving, and if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're just completely screwed. And it's kind of unfair too, just because it seems to track you sometimes, and I don't think it's fair. But this is the second wave. You're gonna have more teleporters, and one bitch ass heavy too, and he's a big problem. So you can get comfortable with staying in a location. This area is pretty safe, but any time the heat wave comes over you, it's gonna do that. And you might want to pick up, I think it's called the SMG from one of the teleporters. It's a really handy weapon. I've got the carbine on here, and it's a piece of junk. So we're just going to be zipping around here. You have to kill the horde before you attack the boss. It's just not going to let you attack him. So I think this is, yeah, that's the heavy. And this guy snuck up on me. So, what a hard boss fight, but it was surprising. And I know there's probably people that are saying, well, he got what he deserved because he was ridiculing the game. But it's just too little too late. Yeah, it is a hard fight. I'm not going to deny that. It's really hard, but where were the other hard encounters? They just don't exist. But anyway, once you take the final guy out, the heat's going to spread over you, so you need to be dashing. God forbid you clip around some of the environment and you get trapped. So we may even have more guys here. So that looks like it's the second wave done. Yeah, more guys. Not many though. Probably not many. So I think we're just about done here. That's been an entirety, the game in its entirety. I guess you can take it or leave it if you want to. It does have a hard final boss and some pretty challenging areas, but just nowhere near what I was expecting. So it's a big letdown. And I have to give this fight credit because it really is hard. Really is hard. It may even been approaching 3 hours of trying, but yeah, it's kind of a big mess because that attack it gets you so often. and just I'm sick of passive cover in games. Cover used to mean something. Now it doesn't even seem to give you that much protection, and it's a joke. So I think this may be the last guy. See what's gonna happen when you finish this wave. You're gonna be attacking the boss and finishing him off. But you will have to evade the heat wave attack. I think 3 times. So you also want to be doing the left bumper hold to run away from this attack. In the game's defense, though, they give you enough room to run around and evade the attack. Here's the second time the camera pans over to it. So they give you enough time. There's enough room to avoid it, and it's basically just avoiding it 3 times and then taking the final boss out. And that's the game. What a big disappointment, and that's just a damn shame. So here's our final attack on the boss, and I'm going to see you guys in the next project. Take care.